Good morning, everybody. And can I just express on behalf of the university, first of all, my sort of personal delight in being asked to speak to you, because I think it is a great privilege when events are student organised, that the students are very sort of keen to hear what, as Rebecca put it, the kind of management speak of the university. So, my role is as the Dean for Internationalisation, and I've been in this role just over a year. And all of the questions that have just been raised so far, what I think my role is to see that the so-called management speak isn't just that. It actually has real value, it has resonance, and it sets a direction that can be implemented. So the topic today of global citizenship, however it might be defined, and I really look forward to seeing the range of ideas that come back from the questions posed, are really fundamental because they get at the heart of what is comprehensive education. Now, we're all very clear about our subject, I think, and the value we see in that. But also one of the pleasures of my role is getting to speak to alumni of the university and people who have sort of gone out in the world and made a difference. And it's interesting that they will all talk about the times that they spent discussing, the times they spent with students from other disciplines, the times they spent in their colleges. And that kind of engagement is a crucial part of what they value from their education. So what I'd like to do is just roll past a few ideas because we're at the point of defining a new university strategy. We've got a new Vice-Chancellor, Professor Stuart Coleridge, and he has come from a variety of different educational settings, from Cambridge, University of Florida, and most recently from the London School of Economics. All of those institutions have a very high international student population, and this idea of intercultural exchange being a crucial part of education is part of his thinking. So if I could just sort of flip past a few things. So the thing about a university internationalisation strategy is that it covers a great range of different topics. It is about student perspectives, it's about the faculty and the internationality of the faculty, it's about the research and how global that is and how ambitious that is. It's about the curriculum and whether the curriculum itself actually appeals to international students, whether it tackles globally relevant problems. It's about the way that institutions are governed. It's about student voice, just exactly what we've been talking about, how students are part of the co-production of education. Do they feel that? Do they feel that their feedback is welcomed and incorporated into change? And perhaps most importantly and most misunderstood is culture. What does that mean? And I can see from the questions you've raised from the start of this meeting that's something you want to discuss, and I welcome that wholeheartedly. Now the context, of course, for a university like Durham is something like these. I don't know if you can see these graphs, but they basically show the growth in non-UK students that have been studying in UK higher education institutes over the last decade or so. And they show an interesting set of trends. They show trends for example, if we were to look at the growth of students coming from China and Asia, the growth of students coming from the Indian subcontinent, and then a decline there, growth of students coming from the EU, if you like, the non-UK EU citizens. So they show a variety of trends, but overall they show there are a large number of students, which means that our universities have often become very international without necessarily having any strategy behind what that means. And I think part of my role here is to think about, in our strategy, what the response should be in order to make sure that we're taking advantage, really, of that resource and providing the right kind of education that is going to stimulate all of our students. So I've extracted two sentences, I don't know if you can see these from the back. One is from our education strategy, and one is from my internationalisation strategy. And interestingly, these strategies were sort of developed slightly separately, and in some cases through what one of my colleagues, the PVC for Arts and Humanities, called megaphone diplomacy, because there are disagreements over exactly what those goals should be and what the emphasis should be. And I don't sort of shy away from that. I think it's important to have robust discussion. But interestingly, and really this is nothing to do with me at all, but the education strategy is the top one, and it talks about this. If you see this, it actually explicitly mentioned global citizens. But what's interesting is that behind that is an idea that this is connected more to employability and skills than it is to intellectual content. And I think that's one of the really interesting things we might want to challenge as part of this whole exercise. And the contribution that you'll, I hope, make through this kind of meeting and the kind of feedback through it, I really genuinely hope will make a difference in the way the university will move forward in its thinking. But the internationalisation strategy is far more about student experience. It's about trying to influence research agendas. It's trying to create both staff, so-called faculty, and students that are prepared to make a difference, impact on business and policy worldwide. I think that's really important because, of course, sitting here today, and especially when you speak to undergraduate students, they really have no idea the range of careers and influence they will have, but they will have. Okay, so you then come down to a series of sort of strategic aims, and this is where, if you like, Rebecca's management speak comes in. It's all very well to have these great ideas and principles, but how do we actually implement those? And so you can sort of see some of the sort of ideas here. Ensure all programs offer curricula that address questions of international significance. So that's another thing that we want to sort of think about, and we've had help from Anne and from Rebecca in actually engaging students, just not as much as we would like to in this process, as part of a series of short workshops to capture student views. And one of the things we wanted to ask students about, and we'll continue to ask students about, both postgraduate and undergraduate students, is a little bit about their ability to do things like study abroad, to access international opportunities, perhaps work placements, perhaps taking modules or semesters or even year abroad opportunities. So, if we're being absolutely honest at Durham, we have an enormous distance to travel here to catch up with many of our competitor universities. And that's a concern, if you like, from the management perspective, because we don't want to feel that other universities are actually offering students something that is actually more exciting and more globally relevant than us. So that the fact that only 5% of our students outside languages, where it's part of the curricula, are actually able to take study abroad opportunities, I see as an enormous challenge, an enormous problem. And that may be part of global citizenship. It's a question of how important that is as a pillar of opportunity. And the other thing, of course, is to recognise the kind of experience they want, whether a year is too long, whether they want a shorter period, or whether field trips, engagement, and it's that sort of reciprocation that's really important. And that's something that somebody like me can try to influence at a university level, to try to make sure we actually do move forward in policies, and with partners and so to try and develop partnerships to allow that kind of opportunity for our students. So as part of this meeting, it would be quite interesting to know your views on how important that is, not just for undergraduates but also for postgraduates. And as Rebecca said, the Brexit puts really quite a serious question mark over the Erasmus Plus scheme, which has been a fantastic scheme in terms of offering opportunity for exchange, not just for students but for staff, and developing these links and partnerships. We're very seriously worried about what will happen to fill that gap. So, in terms of the sort of feedback that we got from our focus groups, there are a number of questions. It's probably just useful to sort of put some of these ideas up. So, running through very quickly, these are some of the things that came back. What does global citizenship mean to you from our student focus group work? And you can just see the range of things: diversity, tolerance, respect, global perspectives, equality, a whole range of quite obvious things. But then when the question was asked, well, is your curriculum global? In other words, what the education, the reason why you're here? Quite interesting perspectives that are very worrying for us. The people who are on focus groups recognise these, but I just pick out one or two things because they're challenging. Look, somebody doing a PGT course, a postgraduate top course, says the literature they're given is heavily Western. It's not, doesn't show the diversity they'd expect from a global perspective on a topic. Here's another really interesting question from a UK male student. Well, is this something we should be engaging with? Is it an opt-in or an opt-out? Is it part of our comprehensive education? Really fundamental questions that affect the whole way we structure our education. So, not giving an answer to that, but it's important to recognise the perspectives. Then, how diverse is college life? Now, Durham, I think, has tremendous opportunities here because of its collegiate nature to actually contribute to that education, which it does, and which it clearly does in Ustinov, through college events, college initiatives. So, this was the dancing in the bar quote, which I couldn't resist, is that some people regard cross-cultural education in perhaps quite simplistic ways. Nothing wrong with celebration and so on, but it's that deeper engagement, that deeper understanding of culture. So that's really quite interesting. And on the other hand, other students say, well, my college actually facilitates community engagement, volunteering. They actually make that something that's really valued, respected and welcomed, which is a tremendous opportunity for us through our collegiate structures, and we recognise that. So just to sort of wrap up, some of the reflections, and again these are students' quotes, but they are reflective. Perhaps the first one, the ability to function in a global society. Perhaps that's one of the most important things. It's difficult to teach. You're actually putting values. It's about, the British Council actually have a schools programme on Global Citizenship, and they set out, if you like, these in terms of a set of themes or principles, and then a set of skills, and then a set of outcomes. And in many ways, the student here is talking about the outcome element of it. It's how you get to that point. That's the important thing. Language, of course, because a lot of people regard that language and language competence, and Durham as a university has moved some way towards actually allowing students to take language modules for credit, but that was a hard fight through that process. I was a faculty deputy at the time that was going through, and that was really quite extraordinary to see, if you like, the rearguard actions being fought by certain departments, that there was no space in our curriculum to allow students to take a language, which seems ridiculous as an idea. And then I just thought I'd put this one up just because people recognising the programme that has been initiated at Ustinov and actually saying, global citizenship programme at Ustinov is really good. And that actually is a quote not from Anna, it's from other students who have participated and recognise that, and I know they welcome students from all colleges to participate at all levels to participate in these events. So we have something here that I think, and I know there are many other global citizenship ideas and programs around other universities that we can learn from, and that's, I think, one of the values of this conference. So these are some of the things that I'd be listening out for in the day ahead. I said before about what is global citizenship, what are the questions, how do we think about themes, skills and outlooks, student experience, what does it mean in terms of community engagement, what role and help can partners and partnership working do, and then take the perspective of the alumni, the people of former students that have gone out and done things. What do they have to offer back to us? And I think that's a tremendously untapped opportunity. A lot of people have regarded alumni as a source of philanthropic income rather than seeing them as a huge, big, valuable resource in terms of their experiences. So I thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and I hope that I really hope to learn a lot from you, and I hope that some of these ideas, if not a lot of ideas, get incorporated into our work plans to implement our strategy, and it's not all just management speak. Thank you very much.